Hey everyone, my name is Berserked, and with so many new and returning players hopping into Guild Wars 2, I wanted to create a series of quick, realistic guides for the most popular metas and world bosses. We're going to start out in Core Tyria and work all the way up to the current expansion. So let's get started. Triple Trouble, aka Evolved Jungle Wurm, is one of the harder world bosses of the base game. This encounter requires 3 giant worms to be decapitated and then killed simultaneously. Just note that this fight requires considerably more coordination in players than other encounters, so it's highly recommended to find organized squads with multiple commanders. You can usually find groups like this through the Looking for Group tool before the meta starts. There will be 3 separate squads, each responsible for a unique mechanic that removes their worm's armor, which will expose it to damage phases. All the worms need to be decapitated within 1 minute of each other, and then all 3 of those severed heads need to be killed within 2 minutes of each other. If at any point a worm head fails to be decapitated or killed within the time limit, the entire event fails. There are 3 overarching phases for the entire event that all 3 squads will follow. The first is the Escort Phase, where each squad will escort an NPC to their worm site. You'll need to kill eggs and waves of enemies along the way. Be aware that these NPCs can die and may need to be revived. Next is the Decapitation Phase. After the escorts, each giant worm will surface and is immune to all damage until you complete that worm's unique mechanic to remove its immunity. Once the immunity is removed, you'll have around 40 seconds to damage your worm. You'll likely have to repeat each mechanic multiple times to sync all the kills. This phase is where you'll spend the majority of the time. Now, for each worm specifically. The Amber Worm. This is the most complex of the 3. You need to be eaten by the worm and fire a special harpoon to remove the worm's armor stacks. Stack up on and kill worm bait abominations to get the worm attractant buff. Then run up to the mark spot by the worm to get eaten. Once inside the worm, pick up the dead guy's harpoon gun and start shooting it at the valve. Stop attacking the valve once it reaches 0%, you'll soon be spit out and your harpoon gun will only have 1 shot left. Move as a group and wait for the commander's call to fire your last harpoon shot at the worm. Make sure you're actually targeting the giant worm when you fire. 20 players need to hit their shots to remove all 20 stacks of the immunity, which will then expose the worm to damage. You'll probably need to repeat this mechanic a few times depending on how many players there are. Some tips. Don't attack abominations until the commander calls for it. There will only ever be a couple of these up and they have long respawn timers. Don't weapon swap while holding the harpoon gun, it'll drop the gun and you won't be able to pick it back up. There's a cooldown on getting the attractant buff again. You may have to sit out 1 cycle depending on how fast your squad progresses. The Cobalt Worm. You need to feed the worm 20 powder kegs to remove all of its armor stacks. Grab kegs and run them back to the marked location in front of the worm. There are 3 potential locations to grab kegs from, and it changes every 2 minutes, so check your minimap or keep your eyes peeled. Some tips. You can mount up while carrying kegs to speed things up. I would recommend using your skimmer if you've unlocked it. While holding one of the kegs, you can't teleport, fall in the water, or get hit by anything. The Crimson Worm. You need to fill 3 extractor machines with the correct toxins that are floating around the area. Run through the red, yellow, and blue phytotoxin clouds on the ground, and then bring each color to its matching extractor. You'll see the color of the toxin you're currently carrying above your character's head or along your buffs bar after you pass through a cloud. If you're colorblind or have any visual impairments, the toxin displays above your head are in a static order. Blue is left, red is middle, yellow is right, but the order along your buff bar is dynamic. You can hold 1 stack of each color at the same time, and they only deposit when you reach the correct extractor, so there's no risk of misplacing anything. Just pay attention to your commander's callouts for what or what not to fill. Each extractor requires 30 clouds to fill. Once all 3 extractors are full, it'll strip the worm's armor and expose it to damage. Some tips. You can use your mount to collect and deposit the toxins faster. You can also use any teleports, leaps, or movement abilities while carrying toxins. Some tips for all worms. Every worm does a massive swipe attack that you need to avoid. It'll stun you, knock you back, and cause you to drop whatever mechanics object you're carrying. The ability has a big windup so you can see it coming. Just move out or be ready to time your dodge. Kill smaller enemies while you're just waiting around or whenever the commander calls for it. And lastly is the Killing Phase. Once all 3 groups have simultaneously decapitated their worms, the severed heads will become attackable and need to be killed to fully complete the event. Make sure you take the marked portal back to the waypoint and manually loot the giant chest. This does not auto-loot to you, even with the mastery. If you leave the map before looting it, it's gone forever. There are several achievements associated with each worm and/or phase, and most organized guild runs will guide you through how to complete them. Otherwise, I would recommend checking out the Guild Wars 2 wiki page on how to complete them all. And that's everything you need to know to complete Triple Trouble. Good luck, Worm Slayer.